Hi, my love. So today I'm just going to read you a story since this is the last day of our Golly book. And our story today is called Gregory's Green Goggles. Now, goggles are special glasses that you wear, when you don't want to get things in your eyes. So Mr. Barch, excuse me, had a hiccup. He likes to work in the garage and he likes to build things out of wood. He builds beautiful things. And when he's sawing the wood, he doesn't want pieces of the wood to get in his eyes because if you get stuff like that in your eyes, it could ruin your eyesight forever. And so he wears special goggles. They're like glasses, but they protect your eyes. Maybe you wear them when you go swimming so you don't get water in your eyes, but you can see under the water. So this little boy, Gregory, has green goggles. Gregory, green goggles. Wow, you hear a lot of what letter? G, Gregory, green, goggles. So that is the name of our story. And he's trying to find his goggles. And there's all these animals that are trying to help him search for them. And to search for goggles means you're trying to look for them, right? If you're helping me search for something, you're helping me look. But the animals are puzzled. They're confused. So when it says that they're puzzled, that means they're confused. And you're going to find out why the animals are confused. So listen and enjoy this fun story. At the end, if you want to send me a video telling me what your favorite part was, I love that. I love seeing you because it really makes me sad that I don't get to see you every day here. So I would love to see you. Here we go. Gregory's Green Goggles by Diane Chapman. Green goggles. Where are my green goggles? Gregory wondered. I had them this morning, but now I can't find them. I need to have a goggles search. So Gregory went outside. He looked in the trees, he looked behind rocks and under birds' nests. Goggles could not be found. I think I need some help in this search, Gregory said. Who can help me? At that moment, a goat walked down the road toward Gregory. Oh, I've lost my green goggles, goat, Gregory said. Will you help me look for them? The goat was puzzled. Remember what that means? Confused. He had never seen goggles before, but he agreed to help Gregory. So Gregory and the goat went on searching, but the goggles could not be found. So now I'm going to stop and I want to ask you what happened at the beginning of the story? Talking about beginning. What happened at the beginning? You can tell you're grown up if you want to. Yeah, Gregory lost his goggles, and who came to help him? The goat. But does the goat know what goggles look like? No. So can the goat really help him? No. All right, let's keep reading. Let's find out what happens next. Soon a goose waddled up. I have lost my green goggles, Goose. Will you help me look for them? Gregory asked. The goose was a bit puzzled, since she too had never seen goggles before. But she wanted to help, so she joined the search. Why does the goose feel puzzled? Yeah, because she doesn't know what goggles look like. So now the goose and the goat are looking for something. They have no idea what it looks like. That's not going to end up well. Let's keep reading. Gregory, the goat, and the goose went on searching, but the goggles could not be found. Just then, a grasshopper hopped through the grass and landed near Gregory and the other animals. I've lost my goggles, Grasshopper, Gregory said. Will you help me look for them? The grasshopper was puzzled. He had lived his whole life in the grass, and although he had seen bugs of every kind, he had never seen goggles. Still, he was a kindly grasshopper and wanted to help, so he joined the search. So Gregory, the goat, the goose, and the grasshopper went on searching, but the goggles still could not be found. So my loves, as I read, I think about the important things that are happening in this story. Whenever I read a story, I'm thinking, what is going on? What's happening? So I know Gregory lost his goggles. These other animals are trying to help him find the goggles, but they have no idea what they look like. So in the end, are they really going to be that helpful? No. So, okay, that's what's been happening in this story so far. Goose, goat, grasshopper, all trying to help Gregory find his goggles. Those are the important things that are happening. Okay, let's keep reading. Nearby, a gorilla was doing tricks in a tree. Oh, maybe she can help, Gregory thought. Excuse me, he said. I have lost my goggles, gorilla. Will you help me look for them? It was almost lunchtime, and since the gorilla had never seen goggles before, she thought that those might be something you eat. And she was a helpful gorilla, besides being a hungry one, so she decided to join the search. Gregory, the goat, the goose, the grasshopper, and the gorilla went on searching, and still the goggles could not be found. Whew, the sun was hot, and everyone was getting tired and hungry. Let's have a little rest under this tree, Gregory suggested. Thinking is easier in the shade. So Gregory the goose, the goat, the grasshopper, and the gorilla settled under the tree, thinking about goggles and lunch. Just then, a girl walked by, humming a song and carrying a basket, and she saw Gregory and the animals sitting under the tree. Oh, how sad they look, she thought. Gregory saw the girl and decided to make one last try in his search. I have lost my goggles, girl. Will you help me look for them? He said. At this, the girl began to laugh. It isn't very polite to laugh at people just because they lose things, Gregory said, and he was getting a little upset. The goat, the grasshopper, the goose, and the gorilla did not laugh. They helped me look for my goggles, he said. Still giggling, the girl pointed to Gregory's head. But good grief! You've got your goggles on top of your head, the little girl said, pointing. Gregory put his hands on his head. And sure enough, there were his green goggles. The animals were very happy to learn what goggles looked like, although the gorilla was a little disappointed because she couldn't eat them. Gregory smiled. Ah, at last, the green goggle search is over. Why don't we have a celebration? The girl said. I have some goodies in my basket. So Gregory, the goat, the goose, the grasshopper, the gorilla, and the girl all ate the goodies while they talked about their great search. And Gregory let the gorilla wear the goggles. All right, my loves, so the story is over. I hope you enjoyed it. Where were his goggles the whole time? On his head. And why couldn't the other animals tell him that they were there? Yeah, because they didn't know what they looked like. They had no idea what they were looking for. So even though they were on his head the whole time, the other animals didn't know that that's what goggles were. So they couldn't say, hey, Gregory, they're on your head until the little girl walked by. Now, I want you to listen. G, Gregory, G, goat, G, goose, G, grasshopper, G, gorilla, G, girl. What letter do all of those names start with? G. You heard a lot of G words. You got it. What happens at the end of the story? We talked about the beginning. Talked about the important things that happened in the middle. What happened at the end? Yeah, Gregory found his goggles, and then they sat and they had lunch. They ate some goodies, right? Awesome. My loves, what I would like you to do is tell me what your favorite part of the story was. You can upload a video if you would like, or have your mommy text me one, or your daddy or your granny text me one. And let me know what your favorite part was. There is no work for today. I hope you enjoyed that story. This just helps us with our thinking when we hear stories. So my loves, you have a great rest of your day. I love you. There's no reading tomorrow because it's Friday. Tomorrow's Friday. So bye, my sweets. Have a great night.